In this video, we're going to have a quick look at the Functions.php file. What is it, where is it, and how you can edit it. You can change the default behavior of WordPress using this file. It's found in your themes folder. If I log into my web server using FileZilla, you'll remember that the themes folder is found inside WP content because it's what we call user-generated content. And inside that folder, we need to go to the themes folder. You can see here I've got two themes installed, Astra and 2019. The Functions.php file is found inside the themes folder. Now on this site I'm currently using Astra, so if I was going to add functions to the Functions.php file, I would go into my Astra folder and add them there. However, you need to be aware that the Functions.php file is specific to the folder of your theme. So if you make changes to the Astra theme Function.php file, then you change themes to the 2019, well, inside the 2019 it's got its own Functions.php file, and that won't have the edits that you made in the Astra Functions.php file. So essentially you need to remember that if you add functions to your Functions.php file and then at a later date you change to a different theme, you'll need to update that theme's Function.php file to contain the functions that you want to keep. If I open the Functions.php file, you can see that it contains a lot of code, and that code contains functions being little programmable pieces of code that will do something on your site, contains functions that control the look and feel of the website. You can see that this is the Functions.php file of the Astra theme, and Astra has a lot of its own information defined within the Functions.php file. But essentially you are free to edit this Functions.php file if there is a function or a bit of programming code that you want to add to it. And you can use native PHP functions, WordPress functions, or define your own functions. Obviously you need to be a little bit of a programmer to be able to do that, but you will find functions online that you might want to add to your Functions.php file. Sometimes you're following a tutorial on, for example, how to remove the WordPress version information from your WordPress site, and that may include adding a function to your Functions.php file. And so we're actually going to go through that example right now, and I can show you how you can do that. To demonstrate the issue, here is a demo site of mine. This is actually on the local host. It's on my own computer, so it's not on a web server. But if I view the page source and then go in and search for WordPress 5.11, which is the version of WordPress I'm using on this site, you can see that WordPress has actually inserted a tag called generator that gives the version of WordPress that I'm using. Now, in terms of security, that's not great, because if WordPress 5.11 has a security issue that is known, then hackers can look for websites that are using version 5.11 so they can attack them. Obviously, it would be better if we could just remove that altogether. And that's what I'm going to show you quickly how to do now. I'm not a coder, at least not in PHP, so I wouldn't be able to write the code myself. But here it is. I found it online. It's basically a function to remove the version number. And you need to be careful with curly brackets. In fact, you need to be careful with all of the brackets and the formatting, because programming code has a syntax and you have to follow it. This is the exact syntax for the function to remove the version information from my theme. So I'm going to just copy that, and I've opened up my themes Function.php file in Notepad, and as you can see we've got all the Astra settings. What you don't want to do is to break up any other code. So to be on the safe side, what I would suggest you do is scroll to the very bottom and make sure you've got a couple of lines at the bottom. You can add some white space there, is no problem. Paste in the function, and then we're going to save that. If we go back to the site now, I'm going to refresh the site, reload the page, and then look at the source code again. I'm going to search for Windows 5.11, and you can see here it comes up as 0 of 0 found. WordPress 5.11 is no longer in the source code. So that function that we've just added to the Functions.php file has removed the version number. Just to show you that that is true, let's go in reverse. Let's delete the function, go back to the site and refresh, and view source code. I'm going to search for Windows 5.11, and there it is back again. So that's a really quick example of inserting a function into your PHP file. You can't really hurt your installation if you make sure you don't break up any code. So for example, where we've got these curly brackets, where you have an opening curly bracket where the little bracket points to the left, you'll have a closing curly bracket where the little point points to the right. So that is a block of code. So you wouldn't want to break up that with your function. You're going to end up breaking WordPress. So always make sure that you scroll to the end, insert it there, save it, and then those functions will start to work with your theme.